All right. Sorry, guys, if you can hear the air conditioning in the back. It's kind of hot out here, hot as balls in Utah. So right now the air conditioning's on full blast, but just focus on the sound of my voice, and we'll make it through this okay. So today is I guess my next workout, but it's been, let's say, 2 or 3 days since my last workout. I'm trying to remember. It might have actually only been two, but I wanted to warm up today. Well, I really wanted to do just upper body, and I don't know. I guess I just wanted to do front squats and overhead squats and stuff. But then my plan changed as I went to the gym because you always have to listen to your body rather than go follow your own thoughts. Um, Anyway, so I'm warming up the overhead squat today, and as you can see, you'll see this for the duration of the workout. But the bar was angling to the left, and that's something I didn't pick up in the gym, but I did when I was editing the video. So I'm gonna have to fix that next time. But today I pushed myself on the overhead squat, so I've been taking it easy for months now. Just trying to get the form down and really practice the movement. It's still not perfect. Like, I don't always lock my elbows out entirely. Today I tried actually putting my hands a little bit wider than normal, and it actually helped a little bit. Um, One thing as well is I felt like I was squatting too deep. So I know that this is supposed to be a very functional movement, but as far as I know, when Olympic weightlifters do the overhead snatch, they don't go all the way down unless the weight is heavy, and it forces them to. So for the time being, until I practice with heavy weight, I don't know exactly how it's supposed to look or feel. I'm just doing what feels right. So the fact that uh, it looks like my butt was winking and dipping and everything, I was just like, let me just squat a little bit shallower. I'm still getting the depth, but really I'm focusing. This movement is 99% for my shoulders, for my scapular strength. My upper body strength has lacked my entire life, so I feel like it's now the time to address that. So here I got fives on the end of the bar, then I go up to tens, and then I do 15 on each end. And I did one rep at 15, and that was actually my best rep. So I guess tips for this would be start off with the bar, and when you have the bar, because the hard part is not getting the bar overhead, the hard part is holding it still and not letting it go forwards or backwards. So I didn't invent. I'm sure it exists. Like, I'm sure people do it, but there's this thing I was practicing that allowed me to kind of build up the shoulder resistance and everything, so that my shoulders wouldn't move. I held the bar over my over my head, and just stood straight up and passed the bar in front and behind my head. I don't know. I'm hoping you can imagine the motion I'm describing, but basically, holding the bar over my head, I went back, forward, like just maybe 6 inches or so or less, and did that like maybe 20 times, and that helped me a lot. And that I started doing that a few months ago, and I'm starting to see it pay off now because my shoulder stability is like 100% better than it was before. So there you see, I failed a rep at oh, you know what? I went up to 20 pounds. That's what happened. So this is 15 pounds on each side. I made sure the thing is that if you rewind, you'll see my upward motion was weak. I didn't go deep enough. It's like I didn't respect the weight. And anytime you don't respect the weight in the gym, you're gonna get spanked. That's just how it goes. So the next rep, I made sure I respected the weight properly and made sure I was aggressive and explosive in my upward motion, and it got me where I needed to go. So, yeah, this was a great warm up. It got my knees going and got my shoulders in where they needed to be, and it was perfect because today I went back to squatting heavy. So, one thing I wanted to talk about in this video is you're gonna have a deathly fear of pushing your limits in the gym. That's just a natural thing. It's part of your fight or flight response. When you do something that you know you're capable of, there's no nerves. It's just a matter of getting the work done. I guess doing the work, getting it done. But I realized today that it's not like I've plateaued. It's like I've voluntarily decided to stay where I'm at and be content with the weight I'm lifting. Although my goal is 300 pounds, 275 still feels heavy for me. And so I just kind of decided to hold back for a while, and I realized just this week, I was like, you know what, that's probably the wrong thing to do. You're being dishonest and disingenuous with yourself. You can probably do it. You just need to push harder. So today I made sure I hit 275. And I'm going to try and hit 275 more often because I need to get to 300. For my body weight, for my height and weight and everything, to not even squat 300 is kind of it's a failure basically. Anyway, so as I'm warming up, I noticed one thing is that I was too upright in my squatting position. So in another video where I was doing the front squat, I realized I was too I was leaning forward too much, and then I corrected that. But now I'm having the opposite problem with the back squat, is that I need to be leaning forward more. And you'll see, especially with my top set, when I get to 275, that as I try and lift the weight, my body rounds forward, like my back leans forward. And I think it's because my body knows better than I do the optimal position to leverage the weight. And I need to practice leaning forward a little bit more and taking full advantage of my body's biomechanics. My body is capable of lifting the weight, but the way I'm doing it is a little bit inefficient, and therefore there's two things I noticed. That when I get to the bottom of my squat, my knees always push open a little bit extra. And then when I stand up, of course, my feet are kind of I think they're just slightly too narrow, just by a few degrees. So when I get down to the bottom, my knees have to push out, and then when I stand up, they have to come back in. And I feel like that extra few inches of movement with my knees is what's called like an energy leak, where it's an unnecessary use of force to move my knees and pull them in and everything. That if I were to put my feet just a tiny bit wider maybe, or point my toes out a little bit, then my knees would be in an optimal position to lift. And so you'll see this when I hit 275. I think it's the next set. I hit the camera angle from directly behind. You'll see what happens with my knees. I wanted to show you. So here's this. I'm too upright, and you can see that the line from my knees and my back is not parallel. It needs to be at least parallel, as far as I gather. So that's one issue I saw today. And normally I would go 225, then try and go 250, then 275. But I realized that I've been doing this for so long that my body just needs a new stimulus. So I went straight to 275, and I'm gonna treat 275 as if it were my new 85%, let's say. So I'm not gonna hit it every single session, as far as I can tell right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll prove myself wrong. But I do need to hit this maybe once or twice a week at least. In the past, I've been hitting it once a month maybe, and that's just not going to cut it. So I got the depth there, and you can see my knees though pushing apart and then pulling back in. So next time I squat, I'm going to try doing that, where I make sure I put my feet a tiny bit further out. Here's my last rep at 275, and you're going to see what I was talking about, where my body wants to lean forward a little bit more. So right there is the bottom of my squat. And then we're going to compare it to when I go on the way up. My body rounds forward, and it literally is a 10-degree difference. And it seems minuscule in the moment, but when you look at it really side by side with that image comparison, you can tell that it's a huge difference. So after this, if anyone hasn't watched my videos before, you need to understand this. When there's pushing, there needs to be pulling. So I have been squatting the whole time, which is a pushing movement. You need to be stretching the back of your hamstrings, the back of your knees, your hamstrings and calves and lower back. If you don't work the posterior chain, you're going to have imbalances, and you're going to experience discomfort and joint problems and everything. So you need to make sure that after you lift heavy on one side, you have to lift on the other side as well. So this is called a good morning or a hyperextension. And right now, my hamstrings are tight. I can feel it. So this is exactly what I needed. And so it's called a hip hinging movement. So there's two that I do. It's this one, the hyperextensions, and then there's one called RDL. You can Google both of them, but basically you're testing your hips mobility while keeping your knees locked in place. So your hips are connected to your lower back and your hamstrings, which are both vital for the squat, which means that exercise, the hyperextension, is perfect for building. It's like a secondary exercise or a complementary exercise to the squat, and it's amazing. I would recommend to anyone. And then I finished off with a split squat. So typically, if you guys have watched my videos, I like to share something that's more insightful and more applicable to everyday life than just exercise. So just this last week, me and my brother went with some friends to a restaurant, and so we're sitting there. It's an all-you-can-eat Chinese restaurant. It's actually higher quality than Panda Express, I would say. It was amazing. Anyways, there's this waiter, or I guess this waitress, who's going around filling everyone's waters and making sure everyone has what they need. And just looking at this lady's face, I could tell one thing. I don't know how, but I could tell that like she's at the position in her life where she's done all she can, and she's just waiting for something better to come along. So I could tell that she wasn't happy doing what she was doing, but she was determined to do it with a good attitude, if that makes sense. So she's hustling and bustling, like doing more than what like the average waiter would do, I think, from restaurants I've gone to. I don't eat fancy, but from what I've seen like most waiters and waitresses, they try, but they weren't really doing what she was doing. And so in my mind, I was like, man, if I had anything, like let's say if I had $10,000, like and I could give that to her, I'm sure it would be life changing. Like, and I would do it. And anyways, it's just the fact that I don't have is what holds me back from giving. That hurts. I wish I had more money. I wish I had more resources. I wish I had a way to become more successful and create value and whatever. But I wish I had that so that I could help other people who are in circumstances that are out of their control. So I want everyone to keep that in mind. Like, what are you doing this for? Are you trying to facilitate? I almost copied a J. Cole line actually on accident. So there's I think it's, I'm gonna have to look up the song later, but the lyrics go like this. At the beginning, it's a voiceover going like, "Are you doing this work to facilitate growth, or are you doing it to become famous?" And it basically saying which one is more important to you. So it's like, what do you want to achieve your goals for? Like, what reason? Is it just for you personally? I think in America we have this toxic celebrity culture. It's actually called pseudo celebrity culture, where basically pseudo means that you're like, it's like a illegitimate, like I don't know how to explain it. Look up pseudo as a pronoun. I'm going all over the place. So pseudo as a prefix, that's what it is, as a prefix. But like a pseudo celebrity is someone who's not really a celebrity, but they kind of pretend to be. But everyone wants to be their own little pseudo celebrity. Really, I think you should want to be someone that uplifts and inspires and that makes people's lives better. That's just me personally, but it seems like everyone these days is recording in the gym just like I'm doing. Everyone's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, just like I'm doing. But I really do think that my motivation and reason for doing it is different. And I think that if you are doing it for the right reason, then you will be rewarded. It doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter how, but you will be rewarded. And the greatest reward actually is being able to help other people. So, food for thought. Anyways, one last thing I got to mention before I go about the split squat, I forgot to stop and talk about it, is that I've kind of messed around with different stances on the split squat, and I realized that I think the most optimal position for doing a split squat is to make sure your back leg is like straight, and that way when you go down, you want your hip to your knee, that line to be about 90 degrees, or it could be even like less than 90 degrees. You don't want your knee going any forward past that 90-degree line. You want to isolate the front leg as much as possible. So in fact, pulling your knee just barely past 90 degrees, like behind that line, is optimal. I think that's just my hypothesis at this point, and I'll let you guys know what progress I see. But anyways, I had to scramble to finish that because I know that there's no video to watch. So I'll let you guys go. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Make sure you get to the gym and make sure you work on yourself and try and inspire people. Thank you very much.